Thanks for joining us tonight. Tomorrow morning, Nebraska lawmakers will meet for a special session. The governor has said he'll keep them until Christmas if that's what it takes.
The top priority, slashing property taxes by 50% by coming up with the dollars somewhere else. 6 News' Brian Mastry joins us live in the newsroom with what to expect.
Aaron, the proclamation came out this afternoon, 20 hours before lawmakers are back to work at the Capitol, 10 a.m. tomorrow. Senator Justin Wayne of Omaha wrote a letter to his colleagues last night suggesting they go into recess immediately tomorrow morning and then come back August 1st to give them time to work on their own bills now that they have a scope from the governor. Here is the proclamation. It has a series of bullet points. Much of it centers on what the governor has been talking about for weeks. The state will begin to fully fund schools. That's always the biggest item on our property tax bill. And then start taxing a number of other items and services or take away exemptions to create the revenue that's being lost with the lower property taxes. Governor Pillen says taxing food and medicine is off the table, but that's about it.
We've not dreamt this stuff up in a hole. We've gotten great input across the state. That's where we came away with broadening sales tax with services. We have a new economy. We haven't had 1 ounce of sales tax.
Yesterday, Mayor Stothert criticized the plan when it comes to capping local governments. She questions why they weren't involved in these discussions. 6 News reported last week that Pillen Family Farm headquarters in Columbus would see a $54,000 savings in 1 year under this plan. The Lincoln Journal-Star took it one step further today, analyzing all property owned by the governor. Journal-Star headline, Pillen's plan saves him $1 million in taxes. Senator Julie Slama reacted to the post, saying it's robbing Peter to pay Pillen. She's been critical that Pillen's plan takes aim at Nebraska's working class when it comes to the new taxes. Now, a handful of senators told me they believe the Pillen plan is dead on arrival. Special session begins tomorrow at 10 a.m. There'll be 3 days to introduce bills, then there'll be scheduled hearings for each one of them. I've heard there could be more than 90 bills presented. On your side, Brian Mastry, 6 News.